The ultimate fishing bike, whether you fish on the beach or freshwater. This thing will do it all. Stay tuned. I'm old enough to remember how fun it was to be a shade tree mechanic and work on my own vehicles. Well, they're just too complicated now. You can't really do anything beyond the basics. But when I bought this bike, that opened up a whole new world for me. And I've tricked it out to be optimum for either saltwater or freshwater fishing. So what I want to do is take you through it, and I'll tell you right now, I've got some stuff on here that's very much optional. I just put it on here because I could, but when I'm done, I think you'll agree that by picking the right pieces of this, you can make the best bike for your fishing experience, whether you're riding on the beach or riding on the Virginia Creeper Trail or the C&O Trail or other freshwater trails that'll lead you to great fishing on rivers and streams. Well, let me start up here at the front and let's take you through step by step. Obviously, I've got my GoPro mount to get those moving shots. I've got my headlight. Now, this is a very expensive one, but it's really very good. You may want to put one that's less expensive down here. Moving around, I've got my phone holder, which is nice because I can keep track of myself on the Angler app using its GPS capabilities. Now, here's the first thing that is obviously optional. I found this cool watch that you could put right here in the stem. I thought that was pretty cool. Then I've got this storage container, and it's waterproof. I've got another phone in here just to show you, but if it was raining, I would move my phone from up here down into here. But this has plenty of room to store my bike tools, because when you're out away from civilization, you need to be able to work on your bike. Moving down to something else that's obviously optional. I bought these nice red valve stem caps, and actually they end up working better. I don't lose as much air with the bike just sitting around than with the stock caps. Okay, let's move back. Obviously, you need a water bottle. I've got my air pump back here. And here's something you may not think of. I've got a couple pieces of Velcro that I use if I ever want to carry another rod. I'll Velcro it on here and it'll stick out the front. I'll link up the video that talks about this right up above. If you value your backside as much as I do, I replaced the stock seat that came with this nice wide one with plenty of cushion, and it's very comfortable to ride on. Oh, one other thing over here. My bike came without these end caps, and I didn't want to get mud and sand in there, so I bought these. They only cost a couple bucks, and they look pretty cool, and they match my color. Also, I hate getting water sprayed on me, so I bought the set of fenders. These cost less than $10 for front and back. I only use the front because I've got other stuff in the back. I almost forgot to mention my chain guard. This was a used bike, and I noticed that some of the paint had chipped where the chain had bounced against the bar. So I got one of these chain guards, and it works great. Let's take the long view here, and you can see the back of the bike is where most of the fun happens. So let me talk from bottom to top, particularly the difference between this slanted rod carrier and how you would use the vertical ones. So to make all this happen, I had to get a rack, a rear rack. I was able to put that on. It wasn't expensive. And then I got these saddlebags that have 4 compartments. Now, I stay very organized, and I've divided everything into a load plan with what goes in which compartment. That way, when I get to wherever I want to go, I can load up and get moving quickly. Because quite frankly, if you keep all this stuff in there, along with anything else you might want to put up in the milk crate, your bike is going to be too heavy to lift on a inexpensive lift that you would put in your garage. So looking at the milk crate, I attached that to the bike rack using a couple very heavy cable ties. The saddlebags connect with straps, so you don't have a problem with those. So what's the difference, and how would you use the vertical rod holders versus the slanted one? Well, to me, that's the difference between freshwater and saltwater. With saltwater, you've got your big rods and there's never any obstruction when you're riding down the beach. So they can go right here. But if you're in freshwater, you don't want a big pole sticking way up in the air. So that's why I made this slanted one. And this one's a little bit different than the standard ones in that it has two carry slots here. This one is for a spin reel, and I love fly fishing. So the bottom one is for my fly rod because the reel sits right next to the end of the rod. Now you wouldn't want to do this with your surf rod because it's going to be so long that it's going to interfere with your ability to pedal. When I'm fishing on the beach, I use bait, and a lot of times we're able to catch the bait right as we fish. Well, this is my Livewell, and so I clip it on the edge of my milk crate, and that allows me to carry this with me. All it is a trash can, but it's perfect for just keeping a couple baits in between using them. I don't use these in freshwater because I'm never sitting in one place long enough. I'm moving up and down the Virginia Creeper Trail or the C&O or the other ways to get up and down a river. But when you're on the beach, you end up camping out in one place. So it's kind of nice to be able to put your rod holder and a camp chair on, and I just use a bungee to attach those, and now I'm ready to go. I need to point out that once you add all this stuff onto the back of your bike, you're going to lose the ability to have the required red reflector at the end. I bought a couple of these for less than $5 at Academy, and I just bolt them on. If your bike came with a reflector, you may or may not be able to move it back to your milk crate because the bolts on that are pretty small, and it's made to go into kind of a loop connector that runs around your bike seat stem. When I get home, I just put everything in this little backpack I bought from Salvation Army, and that keeps everything organized. And then I'll pop it into this container back here for storage. That way, I've got it all in one place to throw it in the back of the truck. Got my cable lock to lock up my bike rack. And that way I can be ready to go in an instant when I figure out it's time to go fishing. That's my solution for a fishing bike, either for freshwater or salt. Now, if you guys have suggestions on other stuff that I can put on here, boy, throw them down below, because I like having a lot of stuff on my bike. It makes it cool, and it gives me something to do, keeps me out of the house and out of my wife's hair. I hope I've given you guys some ideas on how you can customize your bike for the optimum fishing experience, no matter if you go on the beach or in the woods. Throw it down below. Thanks.